All right. Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Hakadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to all the hopeful elect, pushing up this word in truth and in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And sincere shalom to you, Akim and Akwaf, that's listening and learning. This is Brother Kwaf from the DC camp. Come back at you with another lesson. Lord will be a quick lesson, but I got a couple of articles that I want to show you guys in videos. This is I'm entitled this one, All Roads Lead to the RFID Chip, the Mark of the Beast. And you can see the steps that's being put in place to have this move go down, man. You know? And so we all know the scriptures. I'm gonna just get this one. I'm gonna get the main scripture real quick. This is Revelation 13 and verse 14. It says, "And deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live," which is talking about, you know, this is the revived Roman Empire. This was talking about the Roman Empire, that beast that had a wound, but he lived. And all their measures, that image, you know, their government, how they ran everything back then, is exactly what America is doing now. Verse 15, it says, "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed." And that image of the beast is speaking, man. You know, he had power to do so. You got 1/3 of the earth's population on lockdown, it said, man. You know, just by media. You know, because he's flexing that power. Now, this is a video, and of how China did it, man. You know, let me turn off this microphone.
Sober up. COVID-19 respects no national borders, no social bounds, no political systems, and no cultural values. It hits us just as hard. It levels the world. Facing the pandemic, it is not what happened matters. It is how we respond. For almost a month, it infected thousands in Wuhan in a day, and every hospital bed was occupied. Now, empty beds and closed wards in the city. How did China make it? It is nothing new, but it's worthy to know. According to an initial WHO report, an infected person appears to spread it to an average of 2.6 people. And after 10 generations of transmission, with each taking 5 or 6 days, that one initial case has spawned 3,500 in matters of days. And that is what the world is seeing. What China did is to break the cycle by human intervention. The scale unprecedented in history. Extreme, draconian, and aggressive. These are the words used to describe China's response. But now, people have come to terms with the new norm.
He said extreme, draconian, you know, and it pretty much drastic measures, man. Let me look up that word draconian. Define draconian.
Draconian means of laws or their application, excessively harsh and severe.
And he said, but they have come to terms with the new norm, man. All in the name of safety. See, Esau gonna come at you from every angle with this mark of the beast, man. It says buy and sell. Matter of fact, let me get that real quick. I'm gonna read verse 15 again. Revelation 13, verse 15. "And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads." and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Now, it was a video I was going to show y'all, but they kind of took it down where, LA Lakers player Danny Green, he was like, we got to use these last 2 paychecks wisely because they didn't know if they was going to still get paid, man. So even these rich entertainers, man, even Dave Chappelle said they all going to go broke soon, man. Because they live in a lavish lifestyle. So this is affecting everybody. But keep watching what this dude is saying, man.
Lockdown. Some people say, isn't that a violation of individual rights? Actually, the balance between individual rights and public safety is always an ever-changing equation. After 9/11, all the airports in the world began to impose draconian safety checks on passengers, and people accepted it because we traded a little of our freedom for the greater good of the public. China imposed the largest and most draconian quarantine in history.
So you see that. After 9/11, what was they able to pass? They passed the Patriot Act. Pretty much you lost to some freedoms, man. He said people accepted it for the greater good of the public. And that's how they're going to push it, man. That's one of the ways that they're going to push it. It's pressure from above, pressure from beneath. That's their motto, man. And now they talk to how they going to use this to their advantage. Watch.
Factories shut, public transport stopped, and people stayed indoors. By doing that, it flattened the curve. On one hand, China avoided many millions of cases and tens of thousands of deaths. On the other, it stretched out the time and made the hospitals restaffed and less strained. This is exactly what Europe and America should know.
So in other words, what the guy is saying, that this is going to last a while, man. So I was saying this is the new norm. So Esau, he's beginning to roll out his system, but it's not going to just happen overnight, man. It's not going to just happen overnight. They doing gradualism, but now they showing you that's that image. The beast is starting to speak.
But public policy needs both ends to agree, the decision makers and the decision takers. Quarantine is indeed extreme and extremely restrictive. It needs the people in lockdown to be honest and cooperative. I think what the people of Wuhan did was exceptional. They had the courage, tenacity, and resilience to stay housebound for days, weeks, and months. Most view the quarantine as a civic duty, and that is why it worked. Public health methods are universal. They either work or they don't. We are all human beings. Our epidemiology is the same, but we have different economies, demographies, and sociologies. Facing a global pandemic, every nation needs a new contract signed between its politicians, businesses, and the public.
Every nation needs a new contract, man. Listen to what these people are saying. This is a gook, But look at him. He got a tie on. He's speaking. That's why, hey man, Moab is going to be punished, man, for they working close and close with this devil, man, this harlot.
Desperate times ask desperate measures. This is a desperate time, and we should not put politics ahead of public health, now more than ever. The new coronavirus has been claimed by ideologues. Donald Trump said it justified tighter border control. Bernie Sanders linked it to free healthcare, while in Singapore, every infection case is followed and dealt with. Bit by bit, every country is testing its methods through trial and error. Some paid a high price, and some set a high bar. We should all move ahead with humility. There is no decision without trade-offs, and most of all, there's nothing without skin in the game. And now, the whole world has learned, or is learning, to play.
Yeah, man. So there you have it in that video. You know, just that video alone. Now, check this out. Look at Donald Trump. It says just finished a very. This is March 27th, 2020, which was yesterday. It says just finished a very good conversation with President Xi or whatever of China. Discussed in great detail the coronavirus that is ravaging large parts of our planet. China has been through much and has developed a strong understanding of the virus. We are working closely together. Much respect. And this is after he was calling it a Chinese virus. But see, they always do that, man. You know, just like the cashless society, China is further along in the cashless society than America. You know. So they gonna use those same measures, man. You know. Now let me go to the next one. Let me delete these two. But yeah, you can if you want to get that video, what works against the virus. This is just a tweet from Donald Trump. You know. Let me show you something else if I can find it. Look at this. Going cashless in the age of coronavirus. Fears over the coronavirus are forcing many to re-examine their everyday lives, especially when it comes to touching credit cards or cash. Now, when this first popped out like a few weeks ago, they were saying that they might want to get rid of cash because it's passing the virus along. Then they backtracked like they've been doing a lot of times. This March 26th, look what it says. Now they look, fears over the coronavirus are forcing many to re-examine their everyday lives, especially when it comes to touching credit cards or cash. App payments like Venmo, Apple, and Google Pay are seeing a usage spike during the outbreak because they threw it out there that cash had the virus on it, man. But then they backtrack. Like I said, watch, if you can't go cashless or hands-free, then gloves may be your best option, but throw them away after using them. And of course, use soap and hot water to wash up afterwards. The Cleveland Clinic's Dr. Frank Esper says germs are part of our reality, but we may not have to worry about them on our plastic, cash, or even cardboard. That will hopefully reduce fears aside after Amazon workers at several warehouses tested positive for COVID-19. It didn't last on cardboard or plastic very long at all. Dr. Esper says of test runs on the virus in various surfaces, they died almost immediately or very quickly. But yet they pushing it out there that you should use cashless payments, man. But they just said it didn't last on them surfaces very long, man. You see? So they throw off that misinformation on purpose, man. And look at this. Let me see. Yeah. House stimulus bill envisions digital dollar to ease the coronavirus recession. So at first, this was March 24th, they was talking about when they put the money back into the economy or back into the people's hands, that they was going to try to include a digital dollar. But see, they took it out. Digital dollar stripped from the latest U.S. coronavirus relief bill. This is March 24th. You see? But they threw it out there. And mind you, back here, the Federal Reserve is looking into developing a digital currency in the U.S. November 20th, 2019. This is before the coronavirus. So if the Fed, who's the one who's bailing them out, giving them all this money, they still been creating it, man. That's the buying and selling part, man. You see? Look at that. I'm not going to read it all. You can type that in, you know. Look at that. But the virus can be stopped, but only with harsh measures, man. So that's what that's what they about to bring, man. Oh, let me get this. This is tweet. This is how they was tracking people in Hong Kong. Can Hong Kong track people under coronavirus quarantine? Look at this. Can't even.
Adhere to the mandatory 14-day quarantine. I left from the Philippines.
I know that's going to have an echo, so I'm not going to keep playing it. But look, a glitch in Hong Kong's electronic tracking system designed to ensure people under compulsory quarantine orders stay at home could potentially allow many to go outside undetected. Yeah, so this is not good enough. Faulty wristbands allow quarantine to wander free. That's this, man. So this wasn't good enough. They're gonna have to take harder measures. Look at Israel. Israel begins tracking and texting those possibly exposed to the coronavirus. So they just sending a text saying you was near somebody with the coronavirus, you need to quarantine. They already have all your data, man. You remember those test runs on your phones when they all sent the text to your phone? That's what this is. They've been planning this, man. You know? And ultimately, you got this devil right here. He's suggesting embedding people with microchips. This was 3/28/2020. Microsoft co-founder Bill Gates has been talking about the coronavirus pandemic, and he thinks more should be done to contain it. Ted interviewed him on Thursday, but before that interview, he did an Ask Me Anything session on Reddit. During that session, he talked about digital certificates revealing who has recovered from COVID-19 or been vaccinated for it. Some are now worried that Bill Gates wants to embed microchips in everyone, but that may be easier said than done. Bill Gates has been the center of other conspiracies in the past, but is the story about implanting humans with microchips true? The answer is yes. Bill Gates does suggest such a remedy. See? And he's putting all his billions of dollars into this, man, with that ID 2020. You know? Now, what? They what is they doing? They so pretty much they're gonna make the testing mandatory and vaccines mandatory. If you don't do it, then you're gonna be blocked out of the system, man. You even got some countries they arresting people or shooting people. I believe in India they were shooting people on sight for not complying to their measures, man. You got I believe a prison in San Francisco they was releasing prisoners. So how they gonna be able to track them, man? How will your kids go back to school if you didn't get the test or the vaccine? Which they already exploring these things, man. Let me get this real quick. I got a couple more scriptures. Genesis 47. And you already starting to see a shortage of the food. Let me see. This is what I want. All right. This is Genesis 47, verse 14. And Joseph gathered up all the money that was found in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan for the corn which they bought. And Joseph brought the money into Pharaoh's house. And when the money fell in the land of Egypt and in the land of Canaan, all the Egyptians came into Joseph and said, Give us bread, for why should we die in thy presence? For the money faileth. And Joseph said, Give your cattle, and I will give you for your cattle, if money fell. And they brought their cattle into Joseph, and Joseph gave them bread in exchange for horses and for flocks, and for the flocks, and for the cattle of the herds, and for the asses, and he fed them with bread for all their cattle for that year. When that year was ended, they came to him the second year and said unto him, We will not hide it from my lord, how that our money is spent. My lord also have our herds of cattle. There is not aught left in thy sight of my lord, but our bodies and our lands. Wherefore shall we die before thine eyes, both we and our land? Buy us and our land for bread, and we and our land will be servants unto Pharaoh, and give us seed that we may live and not die, that the land may not be desolate. So, as you can see, when that famine came, you know, which they artificially creating a famine, man. You know, by all these closures of stores and that panic, you got people rushing the stores, stocking up, you know, but eventually their money's going to run out. So what they're going to have to do, they're going to have to go to the government, because the government, they're giving out one-time checks. That's what it said, man. So they're going to have to go to these designated essential businesses to get money. But what happens when those payments, or if they decide to continue to pay people, but it's going to have to be with a chip, or you have to get vaccinated, man. Right now they asking, but you're going to start to see people not complying to their acts, so they're going to make it happen. That's why they're setting up the military across the country, man. You know? But eventually, this thing is going to be mandatory, man. And that's what we waiting on, man. We comply until then, you know. Daniel 3 and verse 9, it says, they spake and said to the king Nebuchadnezzar, O king, live forever. Thou, O king, has made a decree that every man that shall hear the sound of the cornet, flute, harp, sackbut, psaltery, and dulcimer, and all kinds of music shall fall down and worship the golden image. And whoso falleth not down and worship, that he should be cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Yeah, and that's when they talked about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, man. And they didn't do it. All right? But at one point, they're going to make that order where it becomes mandatory. Then that's what you're going to see with everybody, how everybody's going to do, man. But that hour of temptation, look, this thing has already hit the whole earth, man. You know? And remember, in the video, they dragging it out by, they talking about flattening the curve. They dragging this thing out, so it's going to last, man. You know? Up till they say they got vaccines, man. So this is the new norm up until then. So it's the beginning of them changing up that system. You know, Revelation 3 verse 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I will also keep thee from the hour of temptation, which will come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. You know? So with that, Lord willing, that was edifying. You know, just keep you updated on the prophecies and these things that's happening, man. You know, a year of prophecy, this is back to back to back, man. So keep your eyes open. And if you can't see that this is the mark of the beast by now, man, I don't know what to tell you, man. You're just going to have to wait till it becomes mandatory, you know. But you got some Israelite camps talking about they going to take the vaccines, man. So, hey, let the blind lead the blind. And they both just fall into a ditch. So, hey, with that, Lord willing, that's fine. Until the next lesson, I want to say, all praise, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashem, Rakakadash.